This one is Omon Raw by Victor Pelevin. Written in, I want to say 1996. So fairly modern. 24 years old now. Translation copyright 1994. Actually, I think it says right in the back. 92. So 29, 30 years old at this point. So this book was written right after the implosion of the Soviet Union, maybe a couple years after. I believe the collapse of the Soviet Union was in 91, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe Pelevin had this written or finished a little bit before and he released it after the collapse. I think that might make sense because this is sort of a pulling back of the Iron Curtain in a way, exposing the underbelly, in a way, the ideology and the way that the government officials think, or at least it seems to be Pelevin's criticism of the Soviet Space Agency, and I think kind of the Soviet government as a whole. So we kind of follow this main character, Omon Ra, and a little bit his friend Mityok, who dream of the stars and the moon and becoming a cosmonaut, which I think is actually a common goal and aspiration and dream of a lot of Soviet kids growing up. And this book is supposed to take place, I want to say, the setting is around the 70s. So yeah, they go to this school, and I won't give too much of the plot away. It's really a fun read. It's very quick, only 150 pages, and not too densely packed. Honestly, this could be read in like a day or two. I kind of took a little bit longer just because I just didn't have the time to get to it, but it's really an easy read. The prose isn't glamorous, but he is a good writer. A lot of good metaphors. So yeah, they go to this school. They get quickly pulled out of the school and sent to this KGB training facility in a way. It's actually the Lubyanka, which is a famous building in Moscow. It's still there. I think it's whatever the modern iteration of the KGB is I think that's the headquarters. So they're being trained to go up into the moon, basically, to be cosmonauts. But Omon Ra quickly discovers that he's not actually going to be, he's not going to be coming back from the moon. It's a hero's sacrifice. And that's where the conflict kind of starts coming into play. This young protagonist doesn't have a lot of his own working philosophy, but he does question. He has in a way, like a Socratic dialogue at times with the Soviet ideology. For myself, it comes off as comical in some points because I've never lived under a Soviet ideology or anything like that, where it's a collective and sacrifice, one person for the whole. In a way, I guess every nation has that a little bit, but especially in 2021 America, it's nothing like I've ever experienced. So it comes off as comical, and I think Pelevin does that on purpose. I think he exaggerates it in many parts, and he's certainly very critical about the Soviet government, although he does seem sympathetic a little bit here and there. He does it in very hilarious and really awful ways. In some part, it's black humor for sure. On page 67 here, he kind of has this passage that to me sounds a little Zen Buddhist, so I'll just read it out. I thought about the question, who am I? It was a question I often used to ask myself as a child when I woke early in the morning and stared up at the ceiling. Later on, when I was a bit older, I began to ask it in school, but the only answer I got was that consciousness is a property of highly organized matter, according to Lenin's theory of reflection. I didn't understand what these words meant, and I remained as astonished as ever. How was it that I could see? Who was this I who saw? And what did it mean to see? Did I see anything outside me, or was I simply looking at myself? And what did that mean, outside myself and inside myself? I often felt as if I were on the very threshold of the answer, but when I tried to take the final step, I suddenly lost sight of the I, that I was about to cross the threshold. So to me, this kind of just reminds me of like Zen Buddhist thought, kind of meditation, losing the self, the ego. Also a little bit of what's it called, German idealism. When he says, did I see anything outside me, or was I simply looking at myself? Like kind of phenomenalism. Not that I have a firm grasp of what all that means, but it just kind of made me think about that. There's some philosophic questioning here and there, so it kind of piques your mind here and there. It makes you think about some stuff. Pelevin, I think he's supposedly a mysterious author, from what I understand. He's reclusive and hasn't given many interviews in many years. And I had some questions actually about this novel. I wasn't sure why so many people lost their legs, like they were being amputated. Maybe I just missed that. Did they lose their legs because they couldn't fit into certain compartments in the spaceships for training? Not entirely sure. And then also the scene where Mityok, the friend who was being interrogated, and he goes off on all these tangents about mythologies and gods of the past. I don't know what all that meant, but I think it was supposed to mean something. But yeah, pretty good book overall. I mean, it didn't blow me away. It was not the best thing I've ever read. I may read more books by Pelevin in the future, although I think this is the one that gets usually the highest rating. So if anyone else has enjoyed Omon Ra and they like Pelevin, what other books might you recommend? I think Generation P is supposed to be one that people enjoy. But yeah, I'll cut it short today. So that's it. Omon Ra.